Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. So, I think it's time to talk about discernment, because people like talking about discernment. Actually, that's part of the problem. People like talking about discernment. Nobody really likes to discern. Ever since discernment became popular, no one's made a decision. That's part of the problem. Here's two quick things. Here's what you might, if you're in a discernment position for your vocation or for whatever, two things to keep in mind for you today about discernment. Number one, discernment requires action. So a lot of people like to think about discernment. A lot of people like to talk about what God wants for my life. Those are things that are important. It's important to think about things, important to talk about those things, process them, to actually get counsel, to get advice. At some point, though, you need to act. At some point, we need to decide. At some point, we need to move. Now, people are afraid of moving because they think, what if I take the wrong step? Well, A, trust in Jesus. Like if you take the wrong step, you know that there's a God, right? You know that there's God who loves you and is all-powerful, and this God who wants you to find your vocation. You know that He is on your side when it comes to you knowing your vocation. That's one of the reasons why a lot of discernment is not about jumping off of a cliff and saying, I'm going to trust God. It's taking one step and just simply saying, okay, I think that if I'm going to know any more, I need to investigate. I need to take action. As an example, again, I'm not saying that you have to okay, my discernment process is I need to break up with whoever I'm dating right now to take this massive leap into the darkness. If that's where you need to go because you know that's what you need to do, then yeah, there it is. But a lot of times it's this. Okay, here's what I know. Here's the data that I know right now. Pondering this won't get me too far. I won't know what next step to take. So what I need to do is I need to get more data. So take action. Who do you need to talk to? Do you need to visit a seminary? Do you need to visit a convent? Do you need to get off your butt, walk across the room, and ask the girl out on a date? Because until you take action, you won't know more data. And until you know more data, you won't know what to do. Does that make sense? And so here's the thing. In order to discern, you need to take action. Because at some point we say, okay, this is all the data I have. I've been processing this. I've been thinking about it. I've been praying about it. I don't know anything more. Okay, take one step. Take one step towards the discernment, towards the vocation, and you're going to find out what you need to know. Number two is this. You can only discern one vocation at a time. What do I mean? Well, I get emails roughly 5 times a week from someone who says something like this. Either it's the guy or it's the girl, and one of them says, I'm dating this person who's seriously considering a religious vocation to the priesthood or to the religious life or whatever the thing is. So what do I need to do? Do I need to break up with this person? Are they called to discernment? Are they called to this vocation, this other vocation, religious vocation? What should we do? He says he's breaking up with me or he says he can't date me because he's discerning this, but he wants to keep me kind of on the side, kind of a back pocket, kind of a safety net kind of a thing. Okay, pause. I understand. This is heart stuff and it's sensitive and just want to be very, very careful. But the reality is we can only discern one vocation at a time. What that means is I can't simultaneously be dating someone and discerning religious life. I can't be dating someone and discerning the priesthood. I can discern this relationship. If I'm dating someone, you discern that relationship. I can't be in the seminary and also discerning, well, maybe I should date that cute librarian here at the seminary library. I can't be in the convent and discerning, that boy back from high school, maybe I should discern whether I should, leave and date him. You can only discern one vocation at a time. And what I invite you to do is, if you're in a relationship, discern that relationship. Is this what God's calling you to? Should you pursue this or not? If you're in the seminary right now, don't also be discerning a potential romantic relationship. Discern the seminary. If you're in the religious life, in the convent, don't also discern, maybe God's calling me to some other thing. Discern this particular vocation. Discern where you're at. You can only discern one vocation at a time. If you're not in either of those, I'm not in a relationship, and I'm not in formation for anything, okay, well, do you have an opportunity to discern either of those right now? Just keep praying, keep developing your relationship with the Lord. Now say, okay, I'm 21 years old, there is someone I'm interested in, but I'm also interested in religious life or in the seminary. Okay, choose one to start discerning. It's not like you walk up to someone and say, hey, would you marry me? I've discerned that we're supposed to get married. I know people who have done things like that, and that's rarely accurate. I think God told me that we're supposed to marry each other. I've never actually heard of that turning out well. I mean, actually I've heard it turning out well, but not in the way that they end up getting married. Same kind of thing when it comes to the seminary or religious life. People say, I'm supposed to be here because God wants me to be a priest. God wants me to be a nun the rest of my life. Well, that maybe, but I think the first step is God wants you to show up at the seminary. Why? Because discernment requires action. You can only discern one vocation at a time. So when you show up into that relationship, you say, hey, would you go out with me? They say no. All right, now I know. You go to the seminary and say, I want to apply for acceptance, or the convent, apply for acceptance. They say, thank you, but no. Okay, there's your answer. You've gotten more data now, because why? Because you took action and you decided to discern one vocation at a time. I promise you, if you do this, these two quick things, two simple things, discernment requires action. You can only discern one vocation at a time. Clarity follows action. Clarity is accented and clarified when you discern one vocation at a time, and a lot of haziness and a lot of uncertainty comes when you're trying to discern two vocations at a time. Stick with one. Take action. Be a saint. From all of us here at Ascension Presents, my name is Father Mike. God bless you.